Okay, so this video is going to be all about the one game that got me into my champion rank finally. So hopefully it's an entertaining gameplay, and I'm going to be analyzing it as we go through. So I already know it was a really backwards kind of a game for me. It was a pretty entertaining game to play, and I feel like this guy was just trying to try something different, maybe? I don't know. We both had fun with it, it seemed. We both did, sort of odd things. Not necessarily the best plays in the world, but I thought it was fun. So hopefully you find it entertaining. So starting out, I'm playing Atriox because, in my personal opinion, Atriox is the strongest late game character. At least, he's the strongest late game character for me. And my opponent is a Kinsano. And when I see Kinsano, the first thing I think is, I'm gonna get rushed. And if you haven't already noticed, I don't like to get rushed. So I prepare for that. Sort of. So, start with that famous build order that I always do. The power generator, and 3 harvesters, and then another power generator. Go around collecting supplies. Yeah, nothing different. Always the same at the beginning for me. I found what works for me. If that works for you, hey, if you have something better, go for it. Beginning of the game is always such an odd period of time. But the way I play, I try to get Tech Tier 2 almost as fast as possible, so long as I'm still able to upgrade all of what's on my main base and snag another base, sometimes 2 bases. All about that colonization for me. I can't resist it. I just want to have the entire map colonized. Just such a wonderful feeling, especially if your opponent doesn't know that you have the entire map colonized. I try to do that this game. This guy, he finds out. He knows. Although, something interesting about this game is he only builds his main base up until late, like really late, and I use that to my advantage because I like to colonize the map. So here I am building up turrets as I normally would. I've started building 3 turrets because I've lost a few too many games only having 2 turrets. I don't like to spend power upgrading them until I know exactly what I have to defend against, if I have to defend against a rush. And me being me, I'm still terrible at scouting. I, for some reason, never think about it. And if I'm able to make this many mistakes and get to champion, you can too. Believe in yourself. Just takes some dedication and a good amount of time. Definitely had to play a good amount of games, around 50 or so in solo war, so that was my personal experience. At least if you win more than I do, you might get there a little sooner. But it's not out of reach if you lose a few times, so don't get discouraged. And after all, it's just a game. The point of it is to have fun. So there I go, getting Tech Tier 2 about the 4-minute mark as usual, so I'm on track. Still haven't seen anything from my opponent, so I'm not super concerned, because I have a few turrets up, I'm getting some upgrades. Everything's sort of working out. I'm not yet doing my Atriox video. I think Shipmaster is the one I'm gonna touch on next. He's got tons of abilities that any person who pays attention to all of the different possibilities, who kind of thinks outside of the box, they're gonna really benefit from playing Shipmaster. He's one of the most frustrating to play against if your opponent knows what he's doing, as well as one of the most versatile, I'd say. Shipmaster can be incredibly good, definitely top tier, and I don't know that a lot of people realize how effective he is. Atriox, on the other hand, perfect for doing what I like to do, sitting back and turtling, I guess is the term people use on here. I like to turtle, hide in my shell for a little while, build up an army that's a little more diverse and advanced than jackrabbits or flamethrowers, marines, that kind of a thing. I like to get the big stuff, although I also like to have counters. I do like to win, not just build big things. I've noticed that the Scarab in this game is not as effective damage-wise as the Scarab was in the first Halo Wars. It's really good at surviving in this game, though, as long as your opponent doesn't have an army of counters for it. And especially as Atriox, having the abilities he has, all of the invulnerability. The Scarab itself has the Y ability for the overshield. Then you've got Atriox's Bulwark, which can give it invulnerability and start to heal it again. And then you've got Unbreakable, gives it invulnerability for even longer. Dying Breath, so even after it's lost all its health, it can continue to fight for a little while. Yeah, Atriox has some really frustrating abilities. If you use them all in succession too, it's constant trying to kill things that will not die. I use that to my advantage in this game. That's why I like Atriox so much for late game, because if you have the supplies and power to support his abilities, you keep your entire army and usually kill off your opponent's entire army. Gives you a huge advantage. Definitely a really strong character to play as if you're trying to win late game. There I am grabbing a power generator. I need to get better at doing that as well. It may not surprise you to know that capturing all the power generators and keeping them if you can will give you a huge advantage on power economy. You can get to Tech Tier 2 and Tech Tier 3 a lot faster than your opponent if you just go ahead and collect those, and especially if you can keep them, defend them for a little while. So there I am, I've got both of the bases on his side of the map now, so I know he doesn't have a second base unless he's somehow pushed to my side and taken that other one. I've got Grunts attacking his mini bases, I haven't seen much of him, but then I see he's got that power node. So I keep my Grunts, I just decide to let him attack. I'm trying to bait out whatever he might have, so I can maybe try to start focusing a different unit, a very specific unit to counter what he's got. But unfortunately for me, he never attacks the Grunts. He just lets them kind of take a little health off of those mini bases. He doesn't really care, it seems. He's out to destroy my bases, and he doesn't want to give up his play just yet. So there it is. That's about the moment I panic. I see a Condor at just about 9 minutes, and I don't have as much anti-air as I would like to counter that guy. So I come back, I just got first reinforcements, I unlock Unbreakable, and I start on some more Reavers. I want more Reavers in there. And I also upgrade my turrets to anti-air for what I've got. He brings in his Consano Cyclops and the Condor, so I use Unbreakable so I don't lose anything. I use it as soon as the fighting starts, so I don't lose any of my units. And I start focusing off that Condor with those anti-air. Lucky for me, Unbreakable won me this fight. I highly doubt I would have won it without Unbreakable. But he tries to run the Condor away there. I end up destroying it. I also kill the Kinsano Cyclops, which is huge. He was using that Flame Wall ability, which, by the way, I didn't touch on this in my Kinsano video, but that Flame Wall ability can absolutely ruin a base by itself. If you get it fully upgraded to Dragon Tanks, you can use that Y ability and just destroy like 4 buildings and 2 turrets off of a base. Take half of its health, just like that. It is really powerful. Whoopsie. So yeah, I killed his Condor, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable here. I'm just trying to rebuild a few more units back. I lost a couple. And then I want to go push on his base before he can get something up. So I'm trying to get a few more locusts out so I can destroy it nice and quick before he can start building things to counter what I've got. Although I am feeling pretty good. I don't have all these bases upgraded, but I do have 4, all contributing to my economy. So here you see the power of Dragon Tank's Kinsano. Comes over to the side of my base and uses that Dragon Tank's Flame Wall ability, and he's just destroying all sorts of buildings. Look at that. Just crushing my main base with one Y ability. And so I'm trying to bring my army back to try to kill it. I get its shields down and he runs it away and I'm like, no! Come back! So I decide, alright, it's not worth trying to chase something that's faster than what I've got. He's destroyed 3 of my buildings there, which is really unfortunate for me, because it's my main base, the one I was trying to build out of, so I start upgrading these other bases as a little financial security here. I want to get units pumping out of other bases, that way I don't have to rely on just the one base, and I'm trying to upgrade my economy on all of them. Start to rebuild my main base, but I leave that Kinsano Cyclops. I know it's there, I know it wants to come back and just ravage my base. So I'm thinking I'll push my opportunity here like I originally planned to and go destroy his base. He comes back with that Cyclops and uses the Flame Wall again. But this time I think a little bit, I stop, I don't panic, I go, I have a bulwark. I can save the buildings a little bit better. He's still, even through the bulwark, to save it as much as I did, he still just decimates my base over there. I think, yeah, I push up to his base, and then the next time I look at my main base, it has almost no buildings. Maybe it doesn't even have a building. So, I've got my locusts. I'm trying to keep them far away to kill the turrets before they can fight back. He uses Kinsano's drop ability and starts dropping in tons of units. So I start moving them closer. I want to get rid of those units as fast as I can, and then I want to destroy that base as fast as I can. So, eradication right there, one of the strongest abilities again. Offensive this time instead of defensive. There was my main base. Almost all the buildings, only 2 left. That Kinsano crushed my base by herself. Ugh, those Cyclops, just powerful, really powerful, fully upgraded. So I start getting engineers because I know he's destroying my main production base for units, trying to get up units from other bases. I just want to heal what I have just in case. And then I destroy his main base, and he destroys mine. But I'm okay because I still have 3 bases over there. And then I just upgrade that base, and there's another Condor. So I'm thinking, oh man. So I start to move my units over to his mini base. I want to take out those mini bases because I know that's what he's got to continue his economy at this point in time. And I'm also trying to pump out those Reavers to try to take out the second Condor that I'm not prepared for. But I know I'm in a better spot than him because he's got to be rebuilding a base, and I still have 2 after he destroys that second one. So I'm still sitting pretty here. I try to move this engineer up to his main base slot so I can take that as well because I've got plenty of power and supplies to do that. Atriox's fortifications ability is just absolutely helping me there. Yeah, making the new base nice and cheap, the nice fire base. So here I use the teleporter. It's definitely important to pay attention to these teleporters on the map, know exactly where they go. They can really be a lifesaver in a pinch. Fortunately for me, it takes me right to the base he was building. A nice small base there. So I keep putting my units through and keep pushing through there. Now here, I get a little unlucky with the way the game functions. So he uses his Inferno, and I try to use the Unbreakable right there, and it just doesn't work until too late. I've lost too many units. I keep experiencing that. I try to do it too quick, and then I accidentally exit out of my ability wheel, and I force myself to be a little late on the draw. So he's got that Cansano Cyclops and another base of mine. I'm not super concerned. I know I've got him on lock. He's got the Condor over there. I'm just looking for any bases he might have, trying to colonize as I go, try to take all of the base slots so I know I have a base, and he doesn't in those slots. So knowing that I've got all of these base slots, there can only be the last one over there in the corner, and he can't rebuild for a certain period of time until after my bases have been destroyed. I find that he teleported this Cansano Cyclops over to this side, and he's really trying to get a base. And so he starts to build there. I don't have very much anti-infantry, so I'm really concerned about this Cansano Cyclops getting killed. I have mostly Reavers, so I really don't know that I'm going to get this thing. So I do everything in my power to kill it. I focus all of my units, I glass it. And he's got that base building, you really want to stop that. I use my bulwark to keep what I have alive. Just trying to do everything I can to end that thing so I can kill his base and make sure he doesn't rebuild. And luckily for me, while I'm not paying attention, they do kill the Cansano Cyclops, and they do kill the base before it finishes building, and he just does not have enough. So I keep building up. I'm not sure if he's building on the other side of the map where he's been taking out my other bases or not. And luckily for me, he's not. He might have run out of supplies, I don't know. Whatever happened, he just was not able to rebuild in time, wasn't able to stop that lost timer, and fortunately for me, I won. And right there and then, I get promoted from Onyx into Champion. A really weird game to get champion off of, but fun nonetheless, very entertaining. Did not do very well against him unit-wise. Lost 44, only killed 12. He did build bigger units though, fully upgraded Cansano Cyclops and some Condors. So, I hope you enjoyed.